Welcome to the Iconic Life podcast, where we gather around the virtual tables for real, soulful conversations about what it means to live a life of calling, wealth, joy, and purpose. I'm your host, Hannah Elsey. I'm the founder of Agora Wellness. I'm the creator of the Iconicity movement. I call myself a transformation midwife, an overflow activator, and a movement builder of a community of visionary women and men who are choosing to lead and live lives they are wildly in love with. Here, we don't just do that surface level chatter. We go deep. We talk about truth and the kind of stories that remind us that we are limitless when we are walking in our divine purpose and identity. When I say living iconically, here's what I mean by that. It's remembering who you were created to be and choosing to live from that place, fully and unapologetically. It's saying yes to your divine calling, even when it's messy, chaotic, stretchy, and building wealth, legacy, and joy from a place of overflow. It's leading movements, raising families, and co creating a life that feels like art with our Creator. Because living iconically means you don't chase a dream, you are the dream. And today, we're going to dive into that with my guest, Sarah. Welcome. So happy to have you today.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. I
Thank you for
loved
joining
your
us.
intro. That was so beautiful.
Yay. Thank you. Hmm. All right. So, like I mentioned, we don't do formal here. We're very informal. Got my water. I've got my coffee. I hope you got something to sip on. We're just
Yep.
gonna we're gonna chat. So I don't really do like a formal introduction. I like to give you the mic and let you kind of tell us who you are, where you're at in the world, and what's lighting you up right now. As opposed to we were just talking about what do you do right now?
Right.
What is lighting you up right now in your life and what you're doing?
Awesome. Thank you. So my name is Sarah and um I am the oldest of four children. Let's start there. That's kind of fun. I'm the oldest of four children, so I am a doer. I make things happen. I'm the one who's in
Yes.
charge and the leader, right? Let's get it done.
Yes.
And I'm an entrepreneur, and I have been my whole life. I feel like if you're an entrepreneur, you learn really young that you are, but you don't know you are until you're older. Then you're like, oh, that's why all of these things have
That's
happened.
why. Yeah.
That makes sense. Um,
Click.
and I actually really loved all of your talk about divinity and God because I feel that's where I've gotten my gifts, and I feel that that is a big part of what I do. And
Mm.
um, yeah, it's just beautiful. So I love that. And what's lighting me up right now is my book. I just published my first book, and the reason I say my first is because I don't think it's going to be my last.
Yeah.
And
That's awesome.
yeah, and I'm not somebody who wasn't ever going to write a book. And maybe people who write that really weren't ever going to write a book. I don't know. But there's almost this what is it called? The reluctant hero, almost this challenge of being, I didn't want to write it. I was like, no, I wanted to. I actually wrote a
Yeah.
book because I kept hearing people talk about how hard it was and how long it takes. And
Uh-huh.
I thought, Psh, I'll do it in a week.
Yeah. How did it
So I
go?
did.
Yeah, of course.
So I
Yep.
did. Yeah. Yeah. So
No,
I
I get that.
dictated it into my phone on my walks in a week.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And I can't wait to get it. When tell us, did it come out yet or is it
Yeah.
coming out? You're
No,
okay.
it's out. I don't have my author copies yet, but I've got like my copy
Get the
where you have
label.
to just
Okay.
like for reals order it online.
Okay. Like on Amazon or whatever, right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then and
Okay.
so like that, so there's the real me. Here's the fancy like headshot, like, oh,
The
and then
formal me and
there's
then the
like
real life me.
there's
I
the
love
real
it.
me. I mean,
That's
they're both
awesome.
me. They're both me. Let's be honest. But yeah,
Yeah,
the goofy.
what are we talking about? We're multifaceted, right? Like that's it.
Yes.
Because we're not just one part of it. Yeah. Because I can glam up and dress up and be glamorous, and I can also just be lounging and chilling and like, or like silly and crazy. Like it's all the parts, right?
Absolutely. And isn't that fun to be able to embrace all of those things and not just be
Yeah.
one dimensional? Because I don't know why we are, which actually makes me think, I hope this is okay. I'm just going to share
Mhm.
something that I just thought of is that a lot of times we think even feelings and emotions are so, you're either happy or sad. You're either
Mm,
joyful or depressed. And
mm.
you being a midwife, my gosh, you know that when you have a baby, I mean, being a mom, you know this, but also on the other end, I'm sure that a lot of times it's like fear and overjoy and scared and happy. It's
Mhm.
like it's
Yeah.
everything all glommed into one. And I don't know why
Yeah.
we put so much pressure on ourselves to be
One or the
one
other.
thing, you know?
Right.
But we tend to, I think.
And also just to be only the bright part of it too, because there is this duality of it, right? And
Absolutely.
I know for me, like that really came home for me when after losing my first husband, right? Because I we had to rebuild our lives, and we had to. It was almost surprising, like the first time that I laughed after he died, because it was like, oh wait, how could I laugh again? But it was like, but you felt it, and it was like a good, like this
Mhm.
true joy was like a good thing. But I remember talking about that throughout my journey with that. It's like we had to learn how to walk with both grace and like joy and grief at the same time, or intermingled,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
And it was a beautiful duality, but it worked together because we were always walking with the loss, but
Hmm.
we didn't let it make it just be that, right? We also found joy, and we thrived in life as well. But it was like this
Yeah.
beautiful, like it walked together. Um, and that was something that definitely had to learn. And you had to choose to embrace it. Maybe that's the word, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you said, like people like we always want one or the other or whatever. And it's like, no, actually the whole experience of human emotions is it's good. It's good,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So
It
I
really
like
is.
that you
And
brought that up.
I think that it helps us. Oh, thanks. And thank you for sharing that. I didn't know that about your first husband. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I know you said that you're walking with it now. Yeah, I don't know. This is with
Mhm.
apparently, but
Yes, yes, yes.
I'm sure they're still also, you know,
No, it's a daily
scary.
walk
Yeah.
because yeah, because it is always, right? Like my
Yeah.
children, I mean, it was I guess it's been 13 years now. I'm 14. But like my children, it's always that because every stage, every graduation, every like new milestone, he's not there, right? And so it's a constant like you walk with loss and with the grief
Yeah.
of that, but you also choose to thrive and embrace
Yeah.
life. And
Yeah.
that's what we have chosen to do because that's what we're here for. Like we are going to embrace life and live it fully, right? And it's a beautiful like this duality of life and emotion, but it's not a bad thing.
Right.
And I don't think I could have understood that before. In fact, I would say I would not have been able to understand
Right.
that
Yeah.
was even a possibility, right?
Mhm.
Before. But it is part of
Absolutely.
life.
And how much sweeter then was the laugh
Right.
after the grief when before you
Right.
almost take it for granted, you know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
like having a
Yeah.
nap as an adult is so glorious, but as a little kid, it's
Right.
the
You're like, I don't
worst,
want that. Right.
you know, or, you know, getting a drink of
You're like,
water when you're full and not thirsty versus after
mm.
hiking all day or being out in
Yeah,
this,
it's
like
like
it
the
makes
most
me thirsty just
refreshing
thinking
thing.
about it. You know, you drink it and it's like,
Yes.
oh. And so
The
I
best
think that
water ever.
right. I think it's divine that we
Yeah.
have to face these oppositions and these challenges so that we can then appreciate the sweetness and the laughter and the
Yes.
joy so much more. And that doesn't mean that we need to get rid of, I mean, let's just be honest. I would love to get rid of all the yuck. I would love it because it's
Mhm.
hard,
It is hard.
but perhaps we wouldn't understand and feel the joy
I
fully,
agree.
you know?
Yeah. The depth of the dark parts makes the bright
Mm,
stuff brighter, right? It's that
absolutely. That
like that
contrast.
contrast. The
Mhm.
contrast.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
that's
saw
what it
you.
is.
It's
Yeah.
contrast right
Yeah, I'm
there.
like my hands are talking for me.
I know.
Yes.
Could you just read this? Yes, I can. Contrast. You're welcome.
Right. But that is what it is, I think
Yeah.
very much. And yeah, it gives a depth of character that it wasn't that I was a shallow person before, didn't understand. Like I was
Right.
a grateful all those things, but like no, it definitely put something
Mm,
different, a different perspective. And I think anybody who has lost, right, who has gone through challenges, you understand that. And it's not something you can just say, right? Something that you experience. Yeah.
exactly. These are the wrong words, but I'll say it. I love that you said that
Hmm.
because there's a knowing that happens. I think women and let me know, Hannah, if you've experienced this, but when, well, especially probably in your line of work, I'm sure you experience this all the time. Women love to talk about their birth stories. And
Yes.
there's a that knowing, like you said, there's not you use the words, but the words aren't really right. There's no depth. They're almost shallow, but when you're expressing your experience with somebody who has been through a similar experience, you get it on such a
It's a
deeper
connection.
level.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So true.
absolutely.
Yeah. There is some, yeah, we could go on about birth stories because you're right. And it's not just even in my line of work. It's just women,
Oh,
we get around
women.
like at my retreat this weekend, what came
Oh,
up at one of the meals is like, oh, about birth stories and different things. And then you just listen to everybody sharing it. And you're right. Like you get it. Like, oh yeah, I remember that feeling or, these kind of things, but it's that common connection. And that
hmm
goes across, it's not just birth stories. It goes across life experiences, people who have gone through similar or whatever. They can like, oh, I resonate with you. So like, because
Yeah.
get it. Right. Yeah, I love that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. Yeah, we kind of talked a little bit about this, but I do want to ask you, because all of us choose to create our iconic lives or
hmm
not, right? And an
hmm
iconic life is literally what it is for you, right? Because it's very different for each of us. Each one of us have a specific calling or dream or desire that's mine, and yours is different than mine, right? So I know you mentioned like entrepreneurship. You always had that inside of you, right? But tell us maybe like when did you first realize that maybe you were, or when did you make the decision to live a different way, to create intentionally a life, a fullness of joy, an iconic life, that's something that was not just on autopilot, be that entrepreneurially or just like different choices that you made in your life. When did you decide that I'm going to choose my calling, my dream, my divine destiny that I'm here for? What was maybe going on in your life then? And what shifted inside of you that made you make that decision?
Okay, so I'm going to ask you a question in response to your question.
A question with a question.
Do
I
you
love
want
it.
my entrepreneurial journey or do you? No, I know which one to
Mm,
share. No. So the quick story on the entrepreneurial, and then I'll get to like the actual for reals one
yeah.
the one that just spoke to me. And so that's what I'll do. The entrepreneurial one, I only really, I've been supporting our family for about 8 years now. My husband decided to go back to school. We both felt it was right. And so we kind of like tagged off and I became the breadwinner and he was the one who went back to school and had kind of like the helping job.
Yeah.
And only about 2 years ago when we were doing our taxes, the guy, as I mean, whatever, we'll just say things how they are, who was like, oh, cute. What's your side hustle? And I told him how much I made. And he's like, oh, you have a legit business. And for whatever reason, even though we've done our taxes, even though we've put in the numbers, that was the first time I was like, oh,
Oh.
yeah, I am an entrepreneur because I always talked about my dad being an entrepreneur. He has
Uh-huh.
his own business. And then I guess I'm following in his foot. Like I never realized that, oh, shoot, yeah, I have a legit for reals business. I support our family anyway. So that was really cool.
A beautiful
But
realization. Hmm.
yeah, it was really nice. But the real answer to your question was I was 14 years old. And I remember I was upstairs in our house in Oregon where we lived. And I was dating this guy who was too enthusiastic, thumbs down. He was not good.
Hmm.
And I remember just walking around with my fists clenched all the time in my jaw, like I was just angry. And I
Yeah.
remember looking in my mirror and I remember thinking, I don't even recognize you. And I thought, like at 14, I know I was
Wow.
young.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'm done. I am done with this. I am not going to be this way anymore. And even if I have to just pretend that I'm happy, I'm going to pretend that I'm happy because I do not like how I feel. From that moment, I decided to change. I was like, my fists are going to not be clenched. Like everything in my life didn't magically get better. But at that moment, I looked in my eyes. I made a decision. I was not going to know who I was. And I
Wow.
changed that fast.
Wow.
Yeah.
I
So
can like
that
picture
that
you
was
as a
the
girl.
moment.
Yeah.
I had
And
long
that
hair,
is so young,
in
right? That's
case you
so
needed to know. I had really
give me the whole
long
picture.
hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me give you kind of
Wow.
awkward. Yeah.
At 14.
Yeah.
So we know, creating that, like you said, everything didn't magically
Mm.
change overnight, right? What have been some of
But
the,
also it did. Sorry
but
to
also it did.
interrupt. But
No, no,
also
no.
it did
I
because
hear you, right? Because it was the decision, right? It was
yeah, that
like,
line in the sand was drawn. I was like, I am not feeling this way anymore, regardless of all the other stuff that's going on. I'm done.
yeah,
Sorry, go
no,
ahead, ask your question.
no, no, no. I think that's an important point though, because you're correct. Everything did shift.
hmm
Just all the little pieces on the outside, right? That like all the little like out facing things
Yeah.
had to take some time to shift maybe, right?
Hmm.
But as you start walking that path of like, you know, that choice that you made, what were some of like the challenges that have come up or obstacles that have come up or and it can be for that or it can even be for like entrepreneurially wise, right? Like how have you decided to move through some of these challenges and obstacles that have come up at a like, are you really serious about this choice? And maybe what are some strengths and lessons that you've learned as you have navigated challenges and things along the way?
So I think we need about 14 hours to talk through this. Isn't that the truth? I think one of the things about being an entrepreneur, being a mom, being a woman of faith, being somebody who is in a monogamous relationship, you get to decide. I think sometimes we say things like we get to decide daily, and I think it's so much
Mm.
more often than that. And also, it's a decision that's been made, therefore it stands. And so I think it's kind of both. I made my husband and I, when we very first got married, we had some, even before then, we had some very serious conversations about, I'm choosing you and you're
Yeah.
choosing me, and this is how it is done, end of story. And so we set up, I know this is more in my marriage, but I think I feel this way in life anyways, is that we just set up things in a way that would make it easier. Like, for example, we have all the same passwords in my whole family on our phones. Anyone can grab anyone's phone at the same anytime and just use it. Like there's not a secret. So
Yeah.
I think one of the things that's important is making a decision ahead of time. And maybe recommitting is the right word, because I'm not redeciding every time,
Yeah.
but I'm committing again. This is absolutely what I'm doing. And this is my goal and my dream. And of course, the thoughts, and Hannah, I'm sure you've had this happen too, like the intrusive thoughts or the imposter or the, who do you think you are? That was way too easy. Or who do you think you are to have this sort of an effect on somebody?
Right.
There's all of these gross things that come at us. And I think often I get the opportunity, and perhaps you do as well, to be like, who do I choose to believe right now? Who do I choose to believe? And I choose to believe that I am daughter of a God who loves me.
Yeah.
Therefore, I will act in such a way. And the destroyer can say whatever he wants, and done. Like I'm
And that's
not,
it.
I'm not
Yeah.
having it. I'm not
Right.
available for that. And honestly, sometimes even though I'm not available for it, and even though I've made those decisions, I have a day or a moment where I just feel like I've been beaten up. So
Hmm.
I think it's really easy. I actually did a walkie-talkie on this the other day. I don't know if you watch my walkie-talkies, but I did
When
one
you're
the other
walking and
day.
you're talking. Yeah. No, I have
Yeah,
seen some
I
of this.
call it a walkie-talkie. Yeah. Um, I talked about this just the other day, is how things aren't always as they seem. And
Mm.
it's not that we're lying or showing up inauthentically, but just like we spoke about at the very beginning, we're not one dimensional. Our heart can be breaking because of something going on in our family. And also,
Mhm.
we're serving.
Yeah.
And the reason we're able to serve at such a high level is because we understand what's underneath. We understand, we feel, we vibrate, we're able to empathize at such a deeper level. Like I'm sure you are able to empathize with women who have lost their husbands because of what you've been through, not because of your words or your training, really, but because of your personal experience.
Yeah.
And so you're able to feel that and to coach and to guide, even if things are still hard for you. And so I think that
Right.
that's one of the things that's important to remember, is we're not being inauthentic, but we're just not so surface level. We're so many different dimensions. We're so
So true.
complex.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. Because it's not that we have to have reached the pinnacle and have no, like we are complete because we're not, and we won't be in this life, I don't believe, right?
Yeah.
But it's every step of the journey along the
Mm,
way. And I think as one of our mentors says, like, you can turn around and help the person a few steps behind you, right?
yeah.
Like to get over
Yeah.
that hurdle that I just got over. Let me help you over that tree stump, right? Because I know the path to get over that. And that's what it is. It's not that I'm reached the top of the mountain yet, but I can help you over this little part here. And let's keep going, right? Because
Yeah.
it's a continual journey along the whole way.
Absolutely. I just heard, and I loved this so much. I think that we are often trying to be the guru,
Mm,
the
hmm.
master, well, are you a master? Are you an expert? And
An
I think
expert.
that when we hold ourselves to that standard, like you said, at least what I heard you say is that it almost equals perfection, and we're not going to be perfected here. And so since I can't get there, I am therefore an imposter, which all makes sense to me. And so what she said was, I am a contributor. And I thought, oh, that just takes so
That,
much weight off,
whoosh.
right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I
Yeah.
contribute, and I contribute a lot because of my life experience, because of my schooling, because of, all of these different things. I mean, you and I, for crying out loud, we could host years of how to parent because of our years of
Because
experience,
then in
not
the
because we're
trenches.
good
Right.
necessarily, but we know, how to turn your face right when that weird sound happens so you don't get puked, right? You know what I mean? Like, we
Right.
know, we get it, and we can
Yeah.
mentor somebody, not because we're perfect, but because we're contributors, and we have been
Yeah.
contributing for so long. So I love that. It just set me
I
so
love
free.
that. Yes, that's so freeing.
Yeah.
'Cause I don't have to have every answer all the time, right?
Right.
Yeah, no, I love that. And that's where the authenticity comes in
Mm.
because
Yeah.
that removes that whole imposter thing because I am just an authentic human living life
Hmm.
and doing the things. I love that contributor. That's a good one.
Yeah. It feels
Remember
good,
that one
doesn't
now.
it? Doesn't
Yeah,
it
it
feel
does.
good? Because then you're like, yeah, I can absolutely
Contribute.
contribute, and it doesn't have to be perfect or even expert. Although I imagine both of us are actually experts in a handful
Yeah.
of things, whether we consider ourselves that or not. Sometimes, and I wonder if this happens to you too, sometimes I'll be speaking about something and it's so easy for me to understand that I skip
Mhm.
like steps 1 through 84. I'm hanging out on 85 and people are like, I don't even know what you're
I'm
talking
not
about. And I
there
was like,
yet.
what? Like I had a little mini retreat in Jersey, um, well, this last year and then the year before. And I had this whole thing planned. And I said, well, before we get started, is there anything that you want to learn? And the thing they wanted to learn was how to muscle test. And it's
Mm.
so second nature to me that I was
Ah,
like,
you're
oh,
like, oh wait.
they're like, well, where do you start? And how do you, like, all of these questions? And I thought, oh, yeah, I wasn't even like, I was so far beyond all of that. And it was really cool to be able to meet them where they were and talk about
Yeah.
things that really interested them that they didn't understand. They wanted to learn. I was like, oh,
I got you.
it's so cool. Yeah. I was like,
Yeah,
that's easy. I got it. No problem. It
I
was
love
fun.
that.
Yeah.
Okay, so one more question about because you kind of alluded to some of it, but I wanted to ask you, like, what are maybe some of the things that you do on like a daily basis to
Mhm.
like daily practices? Do you have any of
Mm,
those kind of things? Or like you mentioned some of like the boundaries like in your family and things like that, but like values that you keep as forefront or practices that you do to like keep yourself focused and on track. And
mm.
I want to say reaffirming that decision that you've made, maybe, right? Because you
Yeah.
said, like you said, it's not like you're deciding every day because you make the decision. I think that is a line in the sand moment.
Mhm.
But I do hear you on like the maybe it is reaffirming. Maybe that is the word. Like
Yeah.
you're like,
I think
yes,
so.
yes, I'm choosing that again. Yes, I'm choosing
Mhm.
that again, kind of a thing. So like, what are some of these things that you do to like keep yourself moving towards that or focus on that?
Awesome. That's a great question. So, one of the things that I have found is my solace is going for a walk in the
Mm,
morning. And it's taken me a while to get to understanding how absolutely important that is for me. And I used to every morning, do I want to get up? Do I not want to get up? Especially living in New York, there's snow on the ground. It was cold. Do I want to? Do I
right.
not want to? And now in Florida, it's 95 and it's 5 a.m. Like, do I want to get
You're
up?
like,
Do I not?
oh, do I want to get? Yeah.
And then, and then eventually it was just, I feel better when I go for my walk. I feel better my whole day. My whole day is better if I just get up and go for my walk. So then the decision had been made and I
Mm,
didn't have to remake it every single morning. So one of my non-negotiables is going for a morning walk, and it's going alone. And
mm,
it, as a mom, as a wife, as a woman, I think we tend to feel guilty that we're doing something for ourselves. But
mm.
like you were saying at the beginning with the retreat, we want to say we can't pour from an empty cup, and yet we constantly
And yet
do.
we do.
I
Yes.
saw the most beautiful picture one time of this. I'll need to find it. I'll see if I can send it to you. But it was this kid and this dad, and the little kid was, so they were both like all filled in black, and the little kid had like this little tiny square sort of hole, like white hole, and he was reaching his hand out, and the dad was holding like the block that would fit that, like this.
Ah.
And
Uh-huh.
you saw the boy, and he was completely filled in except this one little missing square. And the dad, the front you could see was full, but the back had like so much missing. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Just so much missing. And to me, it was such a visual of what we do. We say we can't pour from an empty cup, and yet we continuously, I think we do until we break. And so
Right.
for me, one of the ways to fill that is to go for a walk alone. And sometimes I listen to scripture. Sometimes I listen to podcasts. Sometimes I was going to say I listen to music, but I never listen to music. And a lot of times it's just quiet and I pray
Mm.
and I think and I meditate and I do my walkie talkies because that's when I get my divine downloads. That's when I
Yeah.
am able to commune with my God and have him talk to me because I can't clean the house while I'm out walking. I can't see my to-do list. And I
Right.
often leave my phone still on either sleep mode or do not disturb because that is my time. And when I get my time, I'm just a better human throughout the day. And that wasn't always how I could do it. When you have little
Mhm.
tinies and your
Yeah.
husband goes to work, that's not an option. And I understand that.
Right.
But for me in my season of life, I'm able to do that. And it just
Yeah.
makes me a happier person. And so that is absolutely a non-negotiable. And another one is honesty. I actually struggled with, what are your core values? And I was always like, well, I don't know what's the right values. What's the list? What do I get to
Uh-huh.
choose from?
Uh-huh.
And finally
Yeah.
I realized that honesty, I don't care what the list is. Honesty is the top for me. Honesty is just absolutely imperative. And I'm
Yeah.
also another non-negotiable is I'm very prayerful.
Yeah.
Before I work on anyone, while I'm out on my walk at the end of the day with my family throughout the day, when I get in the car, I'm always very, very prayerful. And that is something that is a daily practice for me that keeps me really, really grounded and helps me to know what it is I should be doing.
Yeah. I love that. Creates that space, like you said, to hear from God and then to like be that conduit of like
Hmm.
blessing and giving.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whew.
How
I
about
love
you? Do
resonating.
you have things that
I
you
do
do?
have some, yeah. So I'm kind of um speaking of children, right? So it's like we talked about this earlier. I have seven, and yeah, I understand what you just said, like about when little ones, right? So my uh my youngest is 3 now. So I feel like I'm starting to come out of that. Like I couldn't get up in the morning and go do the
Yeah.
things that I was doing before, right? Because she was kind of a little bit of a surprise. I had her 12 years after my other one. So
Oh,
I had gotten into the space of like I had some like alone time and then all of a sudden
yeah.
back in the baby world, right? So now like I feel like it's like, oh, like she actually will still stay asleep in the morning so I can maybe get up and go do something, right? So
Yeah.
I feel like I'm coming back into like, oh, okay.
I can breathe again.
Right. Yeah, a little bit of space. Because,
Yeah.
and it's, I mean,
Of
I love it.
course.
You love it. Of course you do, right?
Of
Like, and
course.
this time flies by. I can't believe she's 3, right? But
Yeah.
like, and I'm so grateful for every moment with her. But like, there's also, it's beautiful to be able to like have some space. And I love going for a walk actually. So I'm just kind of getting back into those parts. But for me, which I've actually done with her around me, is I try to meditate at least in the morning. I'd like to do it twice a day, but like a 15-minute, just a little window. And literally, like I literally have done it like sitting on the couch in my room, and she's like walking around, talking around, and like, but she also will sometimes come sit down next to me because she knows I'll be like, she'll be like, Mom, I'm like, I'll be like, I'm meditating, and they go right back to it, and she'll come and
Mhm.
sit with me for just a minute, right? Because it's just my space to surrender my will for this day to what God wants me to do. I have this little reminder on my phone, and that's actually another one of the things I do. I have some reminders on my phone that come up every day, and one of them is like, what do I need to, or show me what I need to pay attention to today? Because I know for me, and I think for most moms, parents, humans, um, we have a long list of to-dos.
Mhm.
There's always something that's urgent, maybe not important, but it's urgent, or it's urgent and important, like those different like categories,
Right. Yeah.
right? And so there's always a million things to do. So what do I need to pay attention to today? Who do I
Mhm.
need to pay attention to today? That's I'm always like, Holy Spirit, like open my eyes to the
Mhm.
child that needs my like like I need to hear or like be aware of like when they say something to me, I need to like catch that. Or so that's like a daily reminder that comes up. And I'm always like, that's part of my prayer in the morning. It's like when I'm taking that 15 minutes, it's 15 minutes of quiet meditation, but it's like just
Right.
focused, right? And then I do love getting outside in nature. Like that's a big thing for me. Even if I can just go sit, like sometimes I will just go sit on my front porch when I'm like cooking and it has to like simmer for 20 minutes, I will go sit on my porch and just like feel the air and
Yeah.
like if it's raining, if it's sunny, if it's I don't know, whatever, just like be out there for just a few minutes. And because I think that really gives me that like it's a perspective shift. It takes you out
Yeah,
of like my everyday, all the things that are all about me, think to like, oh, like there's a bigger view here that's not just about me. And that's
absolutely.
very uplifting.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. So one more thing I thought of while you were saying that too was that my husband really taught me. When I was a young mother with little tiny kids, and there's 800,000 things to do, and even if you did them all, they're still not done.
Still another
And
one.
I would get frustrated, because the house didn't look like a magazine, and the laundry wasn't done. Everything wasn't perfect, right? And my
Hmm.
husband would get home and he said, "But are the kids okay? Yeah. Are you
Mm,
okay? Yeah." And he's like,
okay.
"Everything else will wait." And I just appreciated that so much. And I know not everybody has that. I understand that. So even just giving yourself permission and realizing that, like you
I love that.
said, they do grow up fast. And I feel so blessed and honored and lucky and all the words that for the most part, not 100%, but for the most part, I just let those things be because I
Hmm.
knew that my children wouldn't always want me to hold them. Our youngest now are 17 and 14. Those are the only two that are at home. And they snuggle me sometimes, but not really. I don't have to carry them around anymore.
Yeah.
And I was always the mom who, if my kids were crying, I'd pick them up and I'd hold them and I'd sit with them on the couch because
Yeah.
everything else waited. And now my house stays pretty clean. The laundry pretty much gets done, stuff gets done. And I didn't miss out on that time. So that was a really important thing, just that everything else truly does wait. And yes, of course, it can get to a point where you're like, okay, we got to do something.
We
And
got
then
to do something.
cleaning mama bear comes out, and you make it, and it's okay. Like we do our best. But I loved the permission that first he gave me, which I didn't realize that I was
Mm,
seeking. And then
yeah.
I gave myself that it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
It's going to be okay.
I do. I think that's really important for young moms to hear because I had to do the same thing, right? And even now in this season with the little one again, because I had gotten to like, oh, because I used to be like washing out my like closet, like the shelves, like wiping them down and like making sure
Mm,
everything was organized right before I had like, what is that?
yeah.
Anyway, anyway,
All
right? And
this
then I had
time. Remember,
kids,
you
right?
remember when? It's
Right,
like
like
a dream.
organized everything and circulated the stuff in the class.
Right.
Okay.
That's
Yeah, that's
amazing.
that's
Yeah,
it
cute.
doesn't kind of gave that up many years ago.
Hmm.
But like but it was that right there because the time flies. I mean, I look at my oldest and he's 24 now, right? I'm like, wait a second, what happened?
Yeah.
Right? Because and I remember because I had the our first and then we had twins 2 years
Mm-hmm.
later. That was a surprise. And then I remember like older moms, or grandmothers even stopping me in the store when they'd see me with my two baby like the babies and the 2-year-old, right? And they're like, uh, like, this time goes by fast. It's okay. Just enjoy this time. And I was like, no sleep, all the things. I was like, okay, right?
Yeah.
I remember thinking, okay, how do I make sure that I savor this time? Because they're telling me it goes by so
Yeah.
fast, but I can't even stop to like think, right?
Right. Right.
But I remember hearing that and trying to like somehow be intentional about this because I
Right. Yeah.
knew I knew they were right.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, it feels like it's a never ending changing diapers,
Oh,
all,
yeah.
all the things, right? But I knew they were correct. And now I'm there, right? Like all of my 5 children who are not the 3-year-old is still shorter than me, but all the rest of them are like huge over me. Like I feel like I'm walking with like a bodyguard sentinel with all my
Yeah.
boys and all this stuff. Like I'm like, they were this little before, like right? And like what happened? I blinked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it goes by really, really fast. So
It does. And I
um
think that as well-meaning as that information and advice is, like, just savor it. And you're like, but I don't even like them. Like, I know I love them, but
but
I'm
right
kind
now
of
it's really
tired of
hard.
them. And so the way my husband approached it felt different to me. And maybe
Hmm.
what I said sounds the same as savor it because it goes really fast. And if it did, I did not intend that. I loved that it was a don't worry about everything. just
Yeah.
enjoy what you can right now. And I heard somebody say the days go slow and the years go fast. And I thought that feels
Mm-hmm.
really accurate because sometimes
Mm-hmm.
I remember there would be times my husband would wake up in the morning to get ready to go to work. And he's like, oh, I didn't even hear you in the night. Did you have a good night? Because I would get up with the kiddos so that he could go to
Right.
work. And I'm like, I haven't been to bed yet. I'm just coming to bed right now. And he'd be like, oh, and that's how it feels. And then, I think on those days is exactly when people say, savor it. It's not going to last. And you're like,
Like, yeah.
ah, I want to savor this. But yeah, just that
Uh,
permission to not have to be this unrealistic superhuman all the time.
yeah.
So enjoying your children can mean being messy and your house is a mess and your house is lived in and your clothes are a mess. And I had this thought that we should I don't know who we is, me, maybe you and I, Hannah, maybe you and I start this is to take pictures of women's shoulders when they have babies. Because I remember, and I'm not sure if you remember, but you just made that sound. So I think maybe you do. I
I
remember
remember.
looking at my shoulder and being like, oh, it's
Oh,
clean. My shoulders are
what?
clean.
There's
And that
nothing
doesn't
there.
anything anybody tells you about having babies, your shoulders are going to be disgusting for like 4 years. Like, I don't even know what that means. But I remember looking at it and being like, I don't have to wash my shirt today because my shoulders aren't disgusting. And I thought, what a cool
Whoa.
picture to have in your house
Mm,
of the nasty shoulders
shoulders.
that you
Huh.
wore for years because you loved your babies, because their heads were here, their faces were
Yeah.
here, you were
Yeah.
snuggling them and they got dirt all over you. Just what a beautiful sacrifice that women and men, moms and dads
Yeah.
make for their
Yeah.
babies. And we hold ourselves to this unrealistic perfectionism. And that's where we get down on ourselves that, well, I can't do everything and I don't want this horrible feeling to last. And that's not what people are saying. It's the snuggle with your babies because when they're 14, they're not going to snuggle with you anymore. And it's okay. That's when you can clean your house. Do you have to wait
Right.
14 years to clean your house? Maybe.
It's
I heard
okay.
once that cleaning your house while when you have toddlers is like brushing your teeth while eating Oreos. And I was like, nailed it.
That's
Nailed it
awesome.
so hard. Like,
I
yeah,
love that. You just like almost gave me chills when you said that. Like that would be a beautiful art gallery. Like,
wouldn't
because
it?
it's a picture of the beautiful sacrifice of parenthood, which is the best thing and it's the hardest thing at the same time. That duality we're talking about, like it, but it's such a that right there, being a parent is the duality, right? Because it's like the hardship, but the absolute joy. Like
Yes.
I look at my kids and just like they literally just bring me joy
Mm.
even when they're like I love them, right? Like I mean, like you said, you might not like them, but I at this moment, but like
Yes.
I love them. I love seeing them like learn new things and like my 3-year-old right now, like the cute little like lisp in her voice, like these things, and you're like, it is such a gift. Even though she's also kind of a raging teenager, right? Like
Yeah.
she'll have the
Yeah.
right, but it's like, but like you bring me joy. And for me, that like I always like picture like, like God as the father, like because it's such a like I just kind of laugh a little bit because I'm like, oh, I probably act like that sometimes too. And he's like, but I love you so much and I delight in you. Like I delight in my kids. I'm like, oh, and he delights in us. Like, it's such a beautiful
Yeah,
glimpse of that like love. Mm.
it is.
Ooh, anyway, okay, we need an art gallery. We need like a book like with
Right.
beautiful photos of parents' shoulders.
That could be a really
Okay.
fun project.
Okay. Actually,
Look
yes,
at
my
our
mind is like,
entrepreneur brains
I was
happening.
like,
Okay.
ooh, could we
Send
like,
in your dirty shoulder pictures.
yeah, we may need to
Let's
do.
just put it
Ooh,
together. Gosh, wouldn't
I
that be
think,
beautiful? Like what a
yeah,
gift.
yeah.
And it's funny because I don't really have a lot of regrets as a parent. I wasn't perfect, but I spent time with my kids. I didn't not cuddle them. I didn't not like I feel like I was there. And my kids
Yeah.
even now say, "Oh no, mom, you were always there. We always knew we could count on you. We just knew it." And that
Mm,
that was something I
beautiful.
wanted. And I thought the other day how neat it would be to look back at my fashion and my styles and just have those nasty shoulders and be like, "Yeah, I remember that." And in fact, let's be honest, we could probably look back through some of our pictures that we have and be like, look, shoulder, let's just cut it out. It
Right.
probably looked a little,
You
Oh,
Yeah, so this is the eyes. I think I look at my eyes, I'm like, oh, I can see I was
you're
tired
like, oh,
there.
I didn't sleep for like a week in that picture, but
Right.
I'm
But
trying
you
real,
have all
real
these cute
hard.
little faces around me. I'm like, it's okay. Like it's good. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I love it, Sarah. All right. So let's I want to circle back to your book and
Oh,
anything else
yeah.
maybe that's what is lighting you up right now. But tell us a little bit more about your book. And then yeah, if you have any like do you have any like things coming up like that you're launching, doing like yeah, tell us about
Yeah.
what's going on in your
Awesome.
world at the moment.
Okay, so my book, again, I'll hold it up, forget the label. Speaking of kids, too, my daughter designed the cover and
Oh,
got this all
yay.
going. I know, isn't that so fun? And then my husband formatted
So
it. So it was like
cool.
an act of love with our
It's
family.
a
My sister
family.
helped. It was really
Yeah.
fun. Yeah.
I love it.
So my book is really fun for me because I did, like I said, I dictated it in a week on my walk. So I have, you can see all the voice notes in my phone and then just transcribed it into a book. So I wanted my book to feel as you read it, I wanted it to be such an easy read that you just keep reading it. And there are places in there for you to journal and to have thoughts and, you know, I don't know, have kind of a transformational experience if you choose. But I wanted
Hmm.
it to feel like we were walking arm in arm, just hanging out. And I actually got the coolest review the other day that my friend sent. She said, she actually said that. I hadn't put that out, that
Oh,
that's really what I wanted. She says, it just feels like you're walking beside me and I can share what I need to share. And I thought that is exactly what I want because that is such a sacred place for me to heal that I wanted to invite others to walk with me while they were reading the book. And so they could feel
wow.
and hear me. And also, I think it will be really easy for people to know if I'm not for them. How easy when you start talking to somebody,
Because it's
at least I can pretty quickly be like, oh, I could talk to you for a long time, or oh, I'm good. We just don't have a lot in common, which is
or
fine.
okay,
Like we're all not meant for one
which is
another, and
fine.
that's
Right.
totally cool. So I hope the book is something
Exactly.
so fast that within the first few pages, you're either totally captivated or like, not for me, you know? And so I'm
Yeah.
I'm very excited about that. I'm actually kicking off a 5-day challenge today. I had so many people buy my book that I
Okay.
just thought, hey, let's do a challenge where I just challenge you to rip off a label and I walk you through the process of doing so. And in 5 days, you could have an experience like me, like we talked about when I was 14, where I was like done and done and it was huge and massive and life changing. Or you could have another one that's just like maybe you decide to be kinder to yourself. And it's maybe simple as that sounds, that can also be really life changing. So that's what I'm doing this week. We're doing just a 5-day challenge in my
Okay.
private Facebook group, Stronger Than You Think, and just allowing people to begin to rip off those labels and move through it. And I'm also um, so my business is called Sage Energy Healing, and I've been doing that for, gosh, I've had the website for, I don't know, 16, 18 years or something. I've had it for a really long time. Been doing massage for more than 25, and energy work just kind of happened whether I liked it or not. And I finally decided what to call what it is I do. And I've decided to call it embrace because that's what it was actually just a few days ago. I've been struggling with it for so long. And I was like, I just need to know what it is. What is it? Call it, name it, something, because it's all
Yeah.
these names, name. And I'm like, I don't know. And it was embrace. And I was like, that's it.
Mm,
Because that is how I want people to feel. That is what I do, and that is the experience, is this embrace where it's safe. When you're embraced in somebody's arms, you're safe, you're cared for, you're protected, and you're able to let go of whatever it is that's holding you back. I
wow.
remember times where I was so stressed out, I would, either see my mom or actually one of my children or my husband, and when they give you a hug, you just, yeah, yeah, you can
Yeah.
let it go. That embrace is so protecting. And so I'm really excited that I've finally been able to hear what the name of the word
Your
is.
work.
And it's
Yeah.
really cool because I called it Sage Energy Healing a long time ago. I was like, oh my gosh, Sage. It so I'm not I think acronyms are cool, but I don't use them all the time. But I was like,
Uh-huh.
I use SPV, which is Sarah Park Verhoef. Park is not my middle name, it's my maiden name. And for some reason that seemed to flow better. So I use that for like fitness programs that I do. And I was like, whoa,
Uh-huh.
that's strong, powerful version. And I was like, whoa, that's really cool. Like that came.
Oh,
But for
yeah.
Sage, I was like, Sarah and God embrace. And I was like, oh, it just felt so cool. I love Sage for what it does, like in like Sage, the herb, how it can
Hmm.
clear and how it's been
Clear
used
the
by
spaces.
Native
Yeah.
Americans forever and ever and ever and ever. And I don't know if you are, but your middle name or hyphenated name, that seems like a Native American name. I don't know if it is, but it should, I don't know how to say it.
Everybody says that. It's Chijioke. It's my first husband's last name, but he was from West Africa. But everybody says
Oh,
Native
but they think
American.
Native American.
Yeah. Hmm.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Okay.
Isn't
And
that
I just
interesting?
was,
Yeah.
and it was just from that name that I wondered. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I love what sage can do. And I love that God gives us all of these things on the earth to be able to
Yes.
do the things we need to do. He gave us sage with properties of healing
Yep.
and just the really cool things that happens. Another thing that I do that I love is I clear spaces. I do energetically clear spaces. And I've gotten, I mean, just last week I had somebody say, my house feels bigger. And
Mm.
I did it distance. Like I'm here in Florida and she's there in New Jersey and I cleared her home. And she said, oh, Sarah, when I walked in, my house felt bigger.
Wow. Yeah,
It's
I literally
amazing.
just said I had this having this conversation yesterday with my sister, and I was like, God didn't put us here helpless. He gave us all of these tools to
Yes.
like protect us and care for us and strengthen us and like and help us to live abundant, full
Mhm.
lives. And it's so it's mind blowing when I look at these things because I'm like I love
Really.
like herbs and like energies and like all these different things that he created. That's why
Yeah.
it works, right? Like that's
Yeah.
why it works. Um,
Yes.
Anyway, yeah. Oh my gosh, you're talking my language because I was like, oh my gosh, like it's a whole thing. Because we were talking about how it could like, it can get, it can take you different paths if you're not, we
But
have to be too careful
anything
with it.
can.
I was like, but
Anything can
exactly,
though. Like
exactly, and
my
that's what I came
sister,
back to.
my sister, it was so funny. She went on this banana diet. And
Hmm.
I share this because I think it's like it's such a good example of anything can be too much. So bananas are great, right? They come from God. God created the trees. Like we talk all about them. She went on a banana diet and had so many bananas in her house. You know how when bananas go brown, they give off like a
A
gas
fragrance,
and
yeah.
it made her
Oh, yeah.
sick. It made her sick because she had too many
Too
bananas.
many,
So
too many.
anything taken in too much. So yes, God is a God
Mm.
of abundance. So that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying
No, I
any
get you.
one thing that we focus on way too much is not good.
Mm.
And also he gave us so much abundance, so many things that we can use. Yeah, we can use these herbs and I don't think he wants us to worship the herbs. I don't think he wants us to worship the crystals. I think he wants us to use them for their beautiful properties that he
Right.
put in them for us.
Because why would you worship the created thing? It's what he made. Right. Like it's yeah,
Yeah.
anyway. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Like,
I know.
for
I'm all about that.
example, I wrote this book. So you say, Sarah, good job on the book instead of, hey, book, you're
I love
amazing.
you.
You
Right.
know,
Exactly.
that just seems so. I mean, maybe you love the pink. Like I get it. But isn't that true? On some things
That
we can
that makes
understand
sense.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. Oh yeah. I'm all about that. We like literally just had this whole conversation about that yesterday. Cause I'm like, we were given all of these tools to use. We're not here helpless. Like let's utilize them in the right way.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
yeah. Okay.
absolutely.
All right. Like I said, I think I think you need to come on my week-long program. So anyway,
We can talk for a week about this
because
stuff.
I'm
I like it.
like, it's already been an hour almost. Okay, so yeah,
Yeah.
as we're kind of wrapping up a little bit, I just want to ask a couple questions because for the person who is listening today, who's hearing your voice and listening to this, and it's like resonating and like calling them, there's a call, right?
Mhm.
And who's listening, who's had this call in their life, who knows there's something more for them, but they haven't yet stepped into it, um, for whatever reason. What is maybe one small challenge you would give them, or an encouragement, or an exhortation that you would challenge them with today?
It's a great question. I think it's really easy to beat ourselves up. So I think the thing that I would say is to show yourself kindness and
Mm,
love.
mm,
And I think one of the best ways to begin changing or doing something is just to notice first. Notice what the call is. Notice the thing you want to change, and that's it. Just notice it. Be aware that it's happening. Um, Often we have negative thoughts or feelings in our mind, and we're like, I'm gonna, go from self-loathing to self-love. And as nice as that would be, it's not realistic. It just isn't, like I think I'm fat and ugly. Oh, I think I'm skinny and wonderful. You just don't. So noticing, wow, I say that a lot in my mind. And that's
Hmm.
it. Like just
Hmm.
recognizing it, stepping aside and being an observer,
The curious observer. Yeah.
and then showing yourself kindness.
Mm.
I learned just the other day of a friend who, one of my kiddos' friends, who every time he sees himself in a picture talks about, I'm just so ugly. And I
Mm.
thought, wow, isn't that interesting how we do that? And my kids noticed. And he's a good looking dude. Like there's no reason for him, on the outside. And so just to get him or anyone who's listening, just to notice, wow, maybe I don't feel good because the person who's always with me, which is me, is saying unkind things. Huh.
Mm.
And if I was saying all these things out loud to somebody else, would they want to hang out with me? You know,
Yeah.
probably not. So, one of my things, and I really think this is going to be a book I write because I can't stop thinking about it. So watch out, me write this in a week. Is the first two commandments, love the Lord thy God, right? And then love thy neighbor as thyself.
Mm.
Well, I feel there's a forgotten commandment in there, which is love yourself. How are you
Right.
supposed to love your neighbor as yourself if you don't love yourself? And so, and then people can talk, well, that's narcissistic and that's all of these different things, but having love for yourself is not narcissistic. It's knowing who you are and showing yourself compassion. And so I think that that is probably the best thing we can do to create any change, is to show ourselves love.
Yeah.
Look at ourselves in the face and say, I love you. You
Yeah.
have worth. I actually have in my book, I don't know if I don't have like a little mirror in here. My daughter created a really, really cool workbook, and it's got little like mirrors in there. But I actually walk
Yeah.
you through these different experiences. Go stand in front of a mirror and look at yourself in the face.
Yes. Yes.
That is one of the such a deep, it's weird because it's like it's funny and then it's weird and then it's deep and then
And
you
then
see
it's
your
sacred.
soul and then
Yeah.
yeah, and then it's
Yeah.
sacred.
I do a mirror practice because I had to realize, like, yeah, like, let me just be grateful and compassionate to this person who I see in front of me. And then you start to look at like the little aspects of like this body that has been created has served me so well
Yeah.
for all of my 46 years and still going strong, right? Who's
Oh my
created
gosh.
and carried life. Like, I need to be so grateful and so
Mhm.
thankful and love this person in front of me, right?
Mhm.
And it's just a little thing, but like that's one of my other practices, right? It's like it's just a minute and a half, like in the morning. It's like looking at this person and loving them because they are created by God and there's value there, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's it.
And it's so different than what we usually do in a mirror. Usually we
It's
look
like,
in a mirror.
oh,
Well,
yeah,
because why are we
uh-huh.
looking in a mirror? Does everything look the way it's supposed to? Where's the thing
Mm-hmm.
I need to fix? Like that is really,
Yeah.
that's why we look in
Mhm.
the mirror. What's in my teeth that's wrong?
What's wrong? Right.
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 And
Right.
like I notice you have a lot of freckles. I think they're freckles or moles, or
Yeah,
like
they're
they're
freckles.
they're so cute. And I have a feeling, and you can throw something through the internet at me if I'm wrong, but I have a feeling that there were times that you were like, I should probably cover these because my face is not all one. No, good for you.
No,
That
which
is
is funny.
amazing.
But I was raised with that, right? So like I love that my mom and my
Mm.
dad, like that was not something
Oh, isn't
um
that beautiful?
right, because I
Thank
know
you,
so many
Hannah's mom and
people
dad, for that.
100%, right?
That's
Because
incredible. And thank you, Hannah, for believing in them.
yeah.
Right?
Like
Anyway.
it's so funny. Yeah, no, I agree with you, but because I do hear that from a lot of people with freckles, like, oh, I'm like, why? No, like
Yeah.
this is my
That's who
uniqueness, by
you
the
are.
way.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Mhm.
No,
Yeah.
I love them. I love them. Yeah.
Good. Good. And that's so beautiful, is just learning to accept yourself. And it's funny because I think the pendulum tends to swing too far, what like it's self-loathing.
Yeah.
And then it's
To
like, I can
like
do anything I want. So I'm going to eat all
like
this garbage and
fun.
like feel really terrible. It's like, well, no,
Right.
neither end
Right.
is good. Like, take care of yourself, show yourself love, and do things that are good for yourself. So
Right.
it's
Nourish
funny
that
to try and
person,
figure
right?
out like where that middle where that middle is. We just kind of run from one one extreme to the other, I think.
Isn't that the human thing? I know.
Oh,
I know. Because, yeah, anyway, again, we could go on and on about this.
I'm serious. I know it. We could write a book on that, couldn't we?
True story. All right. So before I have a couple fun questions for you, but before we get there, where can people find you online?
Awesome. So I am at sageenergyhealing.org and
.org.
sageenergyhealing.com. I'm
Okay.
also com and org. I think I have them both. And then
Okay, cool.
also Sarah Park Verhoef is my Facebook page and I think that's my YouTube channel as
Instagram.
well. And
Okay, you have
Instagram.
YouTube
Yeah.
and Instagram.
Mhm,
Yeah, I
mhm.
think I
Yep.
follow you on Instagram. Okay, cool, cool.
Yep. Yep. I'm all over the
Yay.
place and
All right.
yeah.
And then your
We
book is
do
on
we do some
Amazon. I
podcasts and my
know.
book is on
I just bought
Amazon.
it. So yay.
Yay!
Yay, yay,
It's an
yay.
ebook and it's a printed copy and I'm actually in the process of recording it because it was my voice that wrote it and so I'm recording it
Yeah.
so it will be up on Audible and audiobooks
Awesome.
very soon. So going
Yeah,
through that whole process.
I got the actual book. I like to have the actual book.
I
So
do too.
when it
I do
gets here,
too.
well,
I actually really
yeah.
like listening to audiobooks though. So, and since
True
I taught
story.
this, that's how I also want to deliver it because then
Yeah. You can hear the
you can
inflection
hear,
and
although
yeah.
most people who have read it already said, "Oh, I can hear you."
I can
But a
hear
lot
you.
of them already know me. So I'm curious if, I mean, you and
How
I
that
don't
will.
know each other that well. So I'm curious what your
Yeah.
experience with the book is.
Yeah, yeah. I know.
It'll
I
be
hear
fun
that.
though.
Okay. So then a couple fun questions for you.
Okay.
Favorite drink and food. And it can be
Ooh,
right now or it can be all the time. I don't know, because I tend to like, oh,
okay.
my favorite food right now is
Hmm.
so what's your favorite food and favorite drink?
Okay, so of all time food, potato chips. Like I have not met a potato chip I don't. I love potato chips. I love
Now,
them so much.
plain potato chips or like any kind of potato chip, like flavored and all things.
Plain is my favorite, but like I said, I don't. I mean, I've like chocolate covered ones are not for me, and I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
really like the ketchup flavored. So like the really weird ones, I'm like classic. So like Lay's and maybe barbecue and sour cream and onion. Like
Okay. Yeah.
but just plain potato chips are my favorite. I don't even know if that's probably more snack than food, but I love that. Type of food is Mexican food. I love Mexican food. It's
Yes.
so good.
Yeah, we could
Um,
go out to dinner.
oh man. And then drink, I love fun drinks. Recently, so our friends, we have some really good friends who live in England and they sent their last time they were here, they brought over hot chocolate, but it was so Galaxy. So you've probably heard of Cadbury's. I don't know if you've ever heard of
Uh-huh.
Galaxy. Galaxy is like the other one.
Ah,
And
gotcha.
it was a powdered hot chocolate and it was like
Mm.
so good. So
We just
so
had
so good.
at our retreat, we just had drinking chocolate, right? Which is kind of a
Mm.
European thing. So it's not like it's like like hot
Oh,
chocolate
really
decadence.
thick.
Yeah.
Oh, so like
Oh,
in Spain they do that. They do
yes. Yes.
churros con chocolate, and it's like almost like
Mm.
a pudding, like a not set pudding. Ugh, I didn't like
So
that.
this one was not that thick because it's a texture thing, right? Yeah, no.
Yeah,
This was a little bit more like hot chocolate consistency, but like this super like decadent, like really good
nice.
chocolate. And then you put like a dollop of like real whipped cream on top of it, and then you just sip it. You don't
Mm.
stir, you just sip it. So like the text, like the cold cream and then the hot.
I love that.
Oh
I love
my
not mixing
gosh.
up things. My husband will
Yeah.
like take a
No, no,
salad
no,
and
no.
get
Right.
everything
Yeah,
all
no, no, no.
even, but
Like,
I
no,
like
it's
the
gotta come.
different. Yeah.
The
Oh, that's
textures. Yeah.
interesting. Yeah. Oh,
Oh my
that sounds
gosh.
magical. Oh, I'll have to
It
find
was
out what it was
magical.
that you had. That sounds amazing. Because
It
I
was
like that too when
magical.
it's like hot and cold. Yeah, it's
Like
fun.
the contrast and oh my goodness, it was so yummy.
Yeah,
It
that
was
sounds
it was
amazing.
our last night, kind of like the final. It was like, yeah, that was a perfect thing.
Oh,
Perfect
I love it.
ending.
That's so awesome. That's amazing.
All right. And then dream vacation spot on your bucket list, or maybe where you're going next or something like that. But favorite vacation spot.
So my favorite vacation spot that I've ever been on was the only one my husband and I have taken alone. And we went to Vieques, which is a little tiny island off of Puerto Rico. And it
Oh,
is
okay.
freaking magical. We went to this place called, it's
Ooh.
a bioluminescent bay.
Oh.
And so it's like, think of like glow sticks, but
Uh-huh.
in the water. Like it doesn't even
Yeah.
make any sense. You're there and you're seeing it and you're like, how is this real? We went to these beaches and some friends that we went with, he kept saying the water was just painted because that's how it looks. It looks like, have you seen Moana?
Oh.
You have little
Yes.
kids, so probably
Yes.
You know how it's that
The
clear?
light.
That
Yes.
that
Uh-huh.
that was how it looked, like for
Oh my
real life.
gosh.
And if there was somebody
Wow.
on the beach, we'd go to a different beach. There were wild horses. It's
Mm,
Puerto Rico, so it's America, which means we didn't need a passport.
nice.
It's
What is the name of the island? Say it again.
Vieques.
Okay.
Yeah,
I've
most
never
people
heard of
haven't heard of
this.
it. They've heard of like Culebra, they've heard of a handful of different ones, but
Ah,
not Vieques. It's only, so I might be wrong, but I'm going to make this up because I think it's like 9 miles by 11 miles. Like it's not
so it's
big, and
little.
half of
Yeah.
it was used for mine dropping like bomb mine things, and
Oh
so you can't
gosh.
even go in that part because
Okay.
it's not safe. So you
Right.
only get to use half of the island. But it is, Hannah, it is gorgeous. It is, the
Wow.
weather is always like the same. It's like high
Mm-hmm.
80s. UV rays are 11, so you can't stay out too long, but you do
Mm-hmm.
anyway. So you just like cover up,
You
and the
just yeah.
water is just, it's perfect. Like I don't know what the temperature is. It's just perfection. You just go in
Yeah.
and it's
That sounds
magical.
amazing.
And it was just, yeah. So we were actually just talking about that again the other day. My daughter was like, and we still haven't gone. I'm like, I know. We need to go. It's magical.
That
So yeah,
sounds
Vegas.
magical.
It's
Wow.
yeah. Anything with ocean and sand. I mean, I live in
Yeah.
Florida, so
Oh, right,
as
right.
often as I can, we'll just. I mean, if
Get to the get to the
we
beach.
have to drive 2.5 hours to be there for an hour and 2.5 hours back. Like it is
That's okay.
100% worth it because it's the ocean. Yeah, it's
I always say like
amazing.
the ocean is calling my name because we live
Oh,
about 2 hours from the ocean as well,
okay.
up where we're at. And like when we go down there, sometimes like my husband's more about like, oh, the boardwalk, whatever. I'm like, okay, that's fine, but I have to like walk over the dune so that I can see the ocean because it's calling my
Mhm.
name.
Right? I know. I feel the same way when I was growing up. So we grew up in Oregon. I think I told you I was from
Hmm.
Oregon. And the Oregon coast, if you've never been to the
I
West, have you
haven't yet,
been?
but I so
It
not
is
yet,
so
but I still want to
cold.
go.
I can't, it's kind of like melted
Oh,
glaciers. And
gotcha.
so anybody who's from the West Coast is totally going to know this, but there's three phases that happen. So first it's cold, and then it's numb, and then there's the ache. If you get to the ache part, like you've gone too far,
Oh gosh.
because of how cold it is. You ever left an ice pack on your arm too long
Yeah.
and it kind of goes numb,
Yeah.
and then you're like, oh no, and then it like gets
It's
like
like, oh, that's not
burny.
good.
It's
Yeah.
like that burny. Yeah, that's what happens in the Oregon coast. So we'd always go down when we'd go as vacations with our family, and we'd wear all of our clothes because you don't get in the Oregon coast. It's way too cold. And yet we would always leave
Always get in.
soaking. I can't stay out of it.
Can't
Like
not get in the water.
you get it,
Right.
you're like,
Cold
it's so
plunge, cold
cold.
plunge.
So now over here, and the Gulf is like just
The
magical
opposite.
and
Yeah.
gorgeous and
Oh, I
and
love it.
amazing. So wherever I
Okay.
go, the ocean is the best. So yeah, get over there. Tell your husband he can go on the boardwalk. Get in
Right,
the
right.
water.
No,
Yeah,
literally, I will like he can go buy your funnel cake. I'm gonna be at the ocean. Come get me when you're done.
serious, right? Serious. Oh man.
Oh, Sarah, this has been such a fun conversation. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing with us. I've enjoyed this a lot. So thank you.
Thank you. This has been so easy and wonderful. So thank you.
I love it. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us today for another conversation inside the Iconic Life podcast. Remember, every choice you make, it leaves a mark. So make them wisely. And your most iconic life isn't waiting somewhere out there. It's the one you choose and create right now, every day. If today's conversation stirred something inside of you, please share this episode, help us spread the message, leave us a review, give us some feedback. I love to hear from you guys. You can find us on Instagram, can find Sarah on Instagram, Facebook, whatever, all the places, right? But help us spread this movement of women and men who are living, leading, and loving iconically. We'll see you back here next time.